The problem exists because white people think they're better than black people, and they want to oppress us, and they want us to allow ourselves to be oppressed.
This is the I agree with you perfectly. This is the basic problem.
Then what do you
that white people think they're better than others?
I can't solve the problem. You guys pull the strings that close schools. You guys draw the boundaries that keep our kids restricted to the ghetto. You guys write up the restrictive covenants that keep us out of houses. So it's up to you to talk to your brothers and your sisters and persuade them that they have a responsibility. We've assumed ours for over 400 years, and we're tired of this kind of stuff now. We're not going to suffer patiently anymore. No more turning the other cheek. No more blessing our enemies. No more praying for those who despitefully use us. We're going to show you that we've learned the lessons you've taught us. We've studied your history, and you did not take over this country by singing "We Shall Overcome." You did not gain control of the world like you have it now by dealing fairly with a man and keeping your word. You're treaty breakers, you're liars, you're thieves, you rape entire continents and races of people. Then you wonder why these very people don't have any confidence or trust in you. Your religion means nothing. Your law is a farce, and we see it every day. You demonstrated it in Alabama. And I can say you because you're part of the whole system. You profit from it. In fact, you make your living from it. You couldn't walk around and talk to people, stand up in your pulpit on Sunday and preach nice little songs and say, now we're going to give thanks to the Lord for he is good and old Jesus be among us. As far as we're concerned, your Jesus is contaminated, just like everything else you tried to force upon us is contaminated. Well, so you can have him. And here's what I'll say. I wish you would follow Jesus like we followed him. Because if you did that, then we'd be in charge tomorrow. I think the problem is so bad that we can have no understanding at all.
You think it's gotten to the point where there can never be that reconciliation?
No. You talk about justice, and it means one thing to you, and we talk about it and it means something else to us. And it'll always be that way. And I'd like you to know I have a terrible feeling against preachers because I think you guys are the ones who are largely responsible for the problem in the first place. And you can accept it or not any way you choose. And for you, this may be an excursion, you know, across the line.
What about the person that wants to listen? I genuinely feel that I want to listen.
Well, if you listen and try to do something, you get kicked out of your church. See, that's the way your people are.
Well, we can make changes.
God bless you, little brother.
We exist.
Come back and see us again sometime. And don't look back in anger. Thanks for taking it so well. He thought we were going to do in here like they do to us. If we went in one of their places, everybody would have jumped out of their chairs and got some ropes together and hung one of them.
There's no way that we can ever justify colonialism. Colonialism was bad in many respects, in many aspects, and it can't be justified by anyone. Of course, Helen Zille can say that because sometimes in South Africa we are not harsh to our perpetrators. We still treat them with kids' gloves. We still want to respect them even when they still try to remind us the bad things that they've done to us as black people. The mother church, Moederkerk, it only hosted, and to date, if you can go anywhere now, any Dutch Reformed church, you will find that as net for the blankets, only for whites. We then had, through a decision of 1856, we had four different churches that were established within the Dutch Reformed Church. You will get the Dutch Reformed Church for whites, Dutch Reformed Church for blacks, Dutch Reformed Church for Indians, Dutch Reformed Church for colors, you call Dutch Reformed. Algerian, he says that the colonizer lives twice. He lives for himself, but also lives inside the mind of the colonized.
Yes, sir.
So, if we can't deal with this one first, we must give up. We must forget. So that's why I'm saying, for me, faith is fundamental, because it deals with the psyche of the people, the spirit of the people. And once we can to the Christian faith, and we must appreciate that for a simple reason. Black people were undermined We were taught that we are a nation without direction, without tradition, without culture. In fact, the 1658 decision to start to teaching us Dutch and to offer us Christian instruction was also a way of taking away Africans from their culture. And as a result, for you to be Dutch, you have to be civilized, to speak that language civilized, even in your culture civilized, and to do away with your own traditions and culture, customs as an African. But ZCC and others did well in trying to fuse the two together, a process of inculturation. And as a result, black people will find their identity within the Christian faith. In fact, Kwame Bediako, one of the theologians in Africa, one of the great theologians, argues that Christ is the chief ancestor. And he does that trying to reconcile what we will normally call the contradiction of Christ as a Jew and us as Africans, so that we understand that there is no contradiction. So that's what the ZCC has done successfully, and we must appreciate. And of course, others will call it demonic. I do not see it as such. I see it as a process by an African trying to identify themselves within a particular religion and trying to make sense of their faith. And the Roman Catholic Church has done that in its congregations here or elsewhere, encouraging people to inculturate. Even in our church, the United Reformed Church, we have seen this adapted our theology to become an African and Reformed theology. That's an attempt to try to understand Christianity within the lens of a black person, from their African lenses, African experiences, African reality. And that's what Christianity must always try to serve, the interest of the local.
Okay, so what does an African person benefit from becoming a Christian?
Look, it depends. All of us have got different views. It's more like an African person in the Islamic religion, Hindu, and others. We should be allowed to be free to choose any religion, as long as there is provision that our experiences are not neglected or rejected, because we've not been seen as human beings who can contribute nothing either in the histories of religion, faith, or histories of economics, or histories of politics. Black people must be seen as participants, active participants, not as bystanders and recipients. So no matter what it is that we benefit, it should be informed by and be able to interact with our experiences as black people. I think that, because if we find ourselves having one to defend, to sit from outside the camp, the trap is that we will never attempt to get Christianity to speak to our own realities as black people.
Ushembe. I don't think I've got Shembe here. Ushembe is regarded as a prophet.
Yes.
Do you see him as a prophet?
Look, I come from a different theological tradition, which prophets are classified in the canon of the Bible.